The Crandall Fire Department has seen a lot of growth over the last 10 years or so with not only population coming to town, but just the multiple subdivisions that we've got, the multiple housing divisions that we've got coming in. This city has grown, our response area has grown, and the people that work at this department, again, they work most of them work at other full-time fire departments, and so the training, the knowledge that we have within this department is vastly different than what you're going to find at other smaller departments in the county, or even some of the larger departments that are out there in the Metroplex. Our typical shifts start at 7 a.m. We run 12-hour shifts here, so they run 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Typical shift, guys come in, first thing in the morning they do an apparatus check. So they look at all of our apparatus, make sure all the equipment's where it's supposed to be, where it needs to be. They check off their SCBAs, their breathing apparatus that they're going to use for the day. Typically after that they do breakfast. We're lucky enough to have a diner here in town, so we'll go to the diner, or they may cook in-house depending on what all the guys want to do. And then from there they may go to the gym, may go get a workout in, and then the rest of the day is spent training. We've got station chores that get done, and then responding to any calls that may come in. Being physically fit is one of the major parts of this career, is being able to do the job. So when guys come in here, we actually have access to the gym here in Crandall. So those guys will go and they'll work out pretty much every shift that they're here. They're also working out on their off days. Some of them go through their own circuits. Some of them do cardio. Some of them do strength and conditioning. But for the most part, everybody tries to stay physically fit, whether it's doing something here around the station or doing something at a gym. I would describe the department as a tight-knit group of individuals who are like-minded, where we're all kind of after the same common goal, and that is public service. That's helping the public. That's responding to calls. Everybody here has a love for the fire service. We love to train. We love to respond to calls. We love helping people. We love being out in the community. So, as far as our department here, we're a small department with a big ambition to help in the general public. Typically, we get on average between I would say 6 to 8 calls a day. Our current call volume per year has steadily gone up over the last 5 or 6 years. We're projected this year to have somewhere between 2,500 and 2,600 calls. Some days are different. You may have 1 or 2 calls, but then the next day you may have 10 to 12 calls. They all range different types, from medical emergencies to vehicle accidents to maybe car fires or even structure fires at times. So I would say 6 to 8 calls a day is pretty average, with a total call volume of somewhere around 2,500 a year. Some of the more common calls that we get are EMS calls. Most of the fire service runs, the majority of our calls are EMS. Could be anything from a fall to a sick patient to a traumatic injury. So run a lot of EMS calls. I would say next up would be most likely motor vehicle accidents, or what we call MVCs or MVAs. Those calls are typically on the highway or our side streets. Some of those are just minor fender benders, where we show up and check on patient care, make sure nobody's severely injured, to where we may be having to use our tools to cut open a car to get patients out. And then next to that would probably be our grass fires, car fires, and then our structure fires. Structure fires are our big scenes. Those are our big incidents where we actually call in mutual aid from other departments for help. But for the most part, we're all responding to EMS calls, accidents, and fires. So the area that we cover is 148 South. We go all the way out to Home Place Lane, 4116 area. We cover that. We cover up to Bud Stoy Road on 175. Out on the north side of town, we cover all the way to Crandall Hills. We cover pretty much up to the Trinity River on the westbound side of 175, and then all the way out to Heartland, High Bridge, and FM 2932 out off of North FM 148. That's our typical coverage area. We have our area in the city limits, and we have our area in the county. So we're responsible for everything within those limits. Some common misconceptions about the Crandall Fire Department is that we're 100% volunteer. Currently we have volunteers and part-time members here, but we are staffed 24/7, 365 days a year. We have people here from firefighter EMT all the way up to firefighter medic. We do have some volunteers that work for us, but those volunteers don't respond from home. They actually staff here just like our part-time guys do. So that's, I think, the biggest misconception is that we're 100% volunteer. So a volunteer fire department functions differently than like a big city department because we're smaller. We have one station, whereas a bigger department may have multiple stations. The square miles that we cover are smaller than your typical, bigger city or larger city or larger department. We have less equipment than a bigger city. We've got less manpower than a bigger city or bigger department. So a volunteer department is, the departments that are 100% volunteer, they're dependent on people coming from home when they get the call. They come from home, they come to their department, they get their equipment, and then they go to the call. We're a little different as we're considered a combination department. So we have volunteers, but we also have part-time employees that work here every day. So our station is staffed 24/7, 365, and most of them have full-time jobs at other fire departments. We staff individuals that not only part-time here, but they full-time at other bigger departments within the Metroplex. With that being said, they're gathering training, they're gathering knowledge. A lot of them hold different positions at those bigger departments. And one of the things that we strive for here at Crandall Fire is the knowledge and training that we can provide to the community. Through grants, through budgeting, and our operations funding that we have, we're able to provide guys with the training and the knowledge that they need to do this job. We're able to provide training aids, such as our forcible entry door here, as well as a simulated dummy that we use for all of our physical agility tests. And we're also able to send guys to multiple training classes through the use of grants and federal funding that we can obtain by being a volunteer fire department. Within our department right now, I think there's 12 other full-time departments that are represented. What that means for us is that we are reaping the benefits, as well as our city, our community, our emergency services district. We're reaping the benefits of these other full-time departments because these guys are not only getting training here, but they're also getting training and experience at those other full-time departments. And so that knowledge is knowledge that they can bring here to our community that we may or may not be able to get those guys. Someone who wants to become a firefighter, there's really two steps. Number one, if you can volunteer at your local fire department, that's a big step. That's when you can learn, you can start obtaining some knowledge about the fire service, learn if this is really what you want to do. But the two major steps is to get your EMS certification as either an EMT or a paramedic, and then get your fire certification through the Texas Commission on Fire Protection, TCFP. Once you have those two, that's kind of your base for a career in the fire service. That's what most of your municipal departments require you to have, is an EMT and your basic fire. And once you have that, you can start testing at different departments. A lot of people advance their career through degrees, such as fire science degrees. Some guys want to go the fire marshal route, so their EMS and their fire knocked out, and then they'll go to a police academy where you can become a peace officer, and you can be a arson investigator, fire investigator, things like that. The first step really is just finding out that this is what you want to do, and then talk to people in the fire service, see what it's like, see what they enjoy about the fire service, and then really just obtain those two certifications, and you'll be well on your way to a career in the fire service.